Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating corner of the tech world. We're looking at what Amazon is cooking up next with its voice assistant, Alexa. Specifically, something they're calling Alexa plus Zerv.
Yeah, and what makes this particular deep dive so interesting, I think, is our source material. We're not digging through like official Amazon press releases or tech specs here.
Right.
Our whole chat today is based purely on a USA Today article, and it shares the experiences of someone who actually got early access to this Alexa Plus for 2 whole months.
Exactly. So this is like a report from the ground,
Uh-huh.
a beta tester's view on something that's not even fully out there yet. So our mission today is pretty focused. We want to unpack what this user found Alexa Plus to be, how it actually worked for them over those 2 months, what potential they saw, and just as importantly, what limitations they ran into. And all of this, it's drawn only from what's in that one article.
It really is like getting a sneak peek, but
Mhm.
filtered through one person's actual day-to-day use, a very specific window.
And you might be sitting there thinking, okay, so another Alexa update, what's the big deal? But I think the real question this deep dive gets at, based on this user's experience, is could this version actually change how we, interact with tech in our homes? Could it be more than just asking for the weather or setting a timer?
That's the core question, really.
Let's dig into what this early user discovered. So let's start unpacking. What exactly is Alexa plus Gray, according to the article?
So the article frames it as basically the next generation. It's an evolution, sure, but one that's really deeply infused with more advanced AI. It's built on generative AI, not just a simple software patch.
Okay, AI infused. And this user, they were part of an early access program. What did the article say about that? Is it like a closed beta?
Pretty much, yeah. The article explains it's a beta testing phase. Amazon kicked it off back on March 31st. And get this, they brought in hundreds of thousands of U.S. customers right away.
Hundreds of thousands. Wow, that's a lot for an early program.
It is, and the plan apparently is to scale that up. They're aiming for millions soon, so it's a massive test run before they roll it out more broadly.
Okay, so it's big. How did this user actually get in, did the article say? Was it just luck?
Well, according to what they wrote, you definitely needed the right gear first. Specifically, a newer Echo Show device. That was kind of the entry ticket to even apply.
Hardware requirement.
Right. And initially, maybe there was a bit of luck involved. But the article suggests that with Amazon planning to open its millions, that luck factor is probably going down. Access seems to be getting easier if you've got that late model Echo Show.
Got it. So AI-powered evolution, big beta test, need the right device. Let's get to the meat of it then, the experience.
Sure.
What was it like talking to this thing? How does it feel different from the regular Alexa?
Okay, so the user apparently noticed a difference right away in its personality. They described it as being more flexible, more approachable.
How so?
Well, it wasn't just about sounding nicer, though they mentioned that too. They felt this flexibility actually made the interaction smoother and, importantly, led to more accurate answers compared to the old Alexa.
More pleasant and more accurate.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty fundamental upgrade. What kind of tasks did they find it could handle that felt genuinely, more capable?
Right, this is where that AI part really seems to show up. The article gives examples like handling much more complex stuff conversationally, things like brainstorming menu ideas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, or helping plan out a home repair project, managing your calendar but in a more sort of back and forth way, finding really specific types of restaurants, or even making the reservation. These are things that involve multiple steps. The old Alexa would just stumble over that kind of dialogue.
Okay, brainstorming a menu or getting help planning repairs just by talking. That does sound like a leap, more like an actual assistant. But the user was also pretty realistic about generative AI, right?
Yeah.
They mentioned things going, well, sideways sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. They were very clear about that. Like any generative AI right now, think ChatGPT or Gemini, sometimes the interactions could go, as they put it, off the rails. A bit weird, maybe didn't quite understand.
So not magic.
Definitely not magic. It's still early days for this tech, even in a big beta. But the key thing the user stressed was that the good interactions, the helpful ones, were frequent enough and valuable enough that they actually wanted to keep using it despite the occasional glitch.
And that sort of leads into what the article highlights as maybe the most crucial takeaway from their whole 2-month test, doesn't it? That Alexa Plus isn't just passively sitting there being better. Its value really depends on how you, the user, engage with it.
Yeah, this is a really critical point they made. To get the most out of Alexa plus Afi, You actually have to make a conscious effort. You need to sort of change your habits, try to engage with it more regularly for these complex things.
You can't just keep using it for timers and weather.
Exactly. They found if you just do that, the same old simple commands, well, you don't really get much extra value. And they had this great phrase in the article. They said it risks becoming just a wittier, more pleasant sounding egg timer.
A Whittier egg timer. I like that. It really captures that idea, right? If you don't lean into the new capabilities, you're missing the point.
Totally. It implies this kind of feedback loop. The more you trust it with bigger tasks, the more useful it becomes, which then encourages you to use it more. But you have to take that first step.
You have to meet it halfway.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. You have to adjust your behavior to unlock its potential. Otherwise, yeah, just a slightly funnier timer.
Okay, let's talk smart home. That's always been a big part of Alexa. Did Alexa Plus make this user's smart home feel smarter?
See, the user drew a really interesting distinction here. They said their smart home itself didn't necessarily get smarter. The devices didn't gain new features, but interacting with the smart home, that got much easier.
Okay, so the improvement was in the interface, the conversation layer, not the underlying tech.
Precisely. It's about how you control things. And they gave some concrete examples.
Like what?
Well, for one, it became much more tolerant of how you phrase things. You know how sometimes you have to remember the exact name you gave a smart bulb?
Yes, the living room lamp 2 versus main light.
Exactly. They found they could call the same light the entry light or the foyer light or the front door light. And Alexa Plus just understood. It figured it out.
But that alone sounds like a huge improvement. Just less frustration.
Definitely a quality of life thing. They also mentioned it was easier to just ask to see their Ring camera feed on the Echo Show, or even ask about package deliveries from, say, yesterday. Simpler, more natural request worked better.
Okay, that's making control easier. But the article also hinted at something potentially bigger for the smart home, like a killer app enabled by this conversational AI.
Oh, yeah. This part sounded really cool. The user felt the real potential. The killer app for the smart home was being able to create complex routines, sequences of actions, just by talking to Alexa plus.
Wait, building a routine just by having a conversation? Not by tapping through menus in the app?
That's exactly what they described. The example they gave was pretty striking. They wanted to set up a bedtime routine.
Okay.
And they managed to configure it, turning off specific lights around the house, getting the weather forecast, and even having the next day's calendar pop up on an Echo device in their walk-in closet.
Right.
All by just having a natural conversation with the Echo Show in their kitchen.
Wow. Hold on. So from the kitchen, they described what they wanted: lights off here, weather there, calendar on that specific device over there, and Alexa Plus just built the routine.
That's how the user portrayed it. Just a conversational back and forth to create this multi-step, multi-device automation.
That actually feels significant. If that works reliably, it lowers the barrier to smart home automation massively. No more fiddling with complex apps, just talking.
Yeah, it shifts it from feeling like programming to just describing what you want to happen. Huge potential there if it pans out.
Okay, beyond the smart home, what other sorts of real-world things did the user find it helpful for? Any other examples stick out from the article?
Yeah, they shared a couple more. One was pretty simple but felt very natural. They were apparently making dinner, complaining out loud about the fish quality from their usual store. Mentioned it to Alexa Plus A, and it actually helped them find a local specialty fish shop nearby.
Oh, neat. Contextual help based on a complaint.
Right. And another one was more involved, a DIY project. They were adding an electrical outlet outside.
Okay, that sounds tricky.
For sure. And they said Alexa Plus gave them step-by-step instructions. But the key part, according to the user, wasn't just the instructions themselves, it was the iteration.
Iteration.
Yeah, like they could ask follow-up questions as they went. Okay, but what about this wire? Or my setup looks slightly different here. And Alexa Plus would apparently adapt its guidance based on those specifics. It made it feel more like getting help from someone who knew what they were doing, rather than just reading a static guide.
That back and forth, adapting the advice in real time. That really leans into that planning partner idea we talked about. It's not just information retrieval, it's helping execute.
Exactly. Much more dynamic, more collaborative feeling.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing. This is a beta test, after all. The article mentioned some early misses, right? Including one related to that very outlet project.
Yes, definitely. There was a pretty classic AI blunder described. The user asked Alexa Plus to make a shopping list for the outlet project.
Okay, sounds helpful.
And it did. But It completely forgot to put the actual electrical outlet on the lid.
It forgot the outlet.
Yes.
Project. Yep.
Apparently, I made an incorrect assumption that the outlet itself would come packaged with the outlet cover. A rather important detail to miss.
That's quite the oversight. A bit funny, but also highlights the pitfalls. So how did Alexa Plus react when the user pointed this out? Did it argue? Get defensive?
No, the user noted that when they corrected it on errors like this, it tended to reassess in much the same agreeable manner as other chatbots they'd used, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. Sort of that polite, you are correct, my apologies kind of response.
Okay, so standard chatbot politeness when caught making a mistake. Got it.
Yeah.
Based on these 2 months then, what did the user feel was Amazon's overall strategy here? What makes Alexa Plus potentially different from just using, say, ChatGPT on your phone?
The user pinpointed what they saw as a very clear focus from Amazon. They believe Amazon is trying very deliberately to make Alexa plus home base the kitchen counter.
The kitchen counter. Interesting. Why there specifically?
Well, the article lays out the argument that the kitchen is often ground zero for family life, right? It's the hub. It's where meals get planned, schedules get coordinated, projects get discussed, groceries get listed. All that daily logistical stuff happens there.
Ah, okay. So Amazon isn't just making a general assistant. They're aiming it squarely at becoming the planning and execution hub, right, where those activities are naturally centered in many homes.
That seems to be the user's interpretation, yeah. And they noted that the features Amazon has either implemented or has on its roadmap seem to support this. Things like ordering groceries directly, arranging meal delivery, maybe booking event tickets.
All things that fit that kitchen table planning scenario.
Exactly. It reinforces that idea of being a partner in managing the household flow.
So, pulling it all together, what was the user's final verdict after living with Alexa Plus for 2 months? What's the bottom line from their experience?
Their conclusion, pretty clearly stated in the article, is that, yes, Alexa Plus is shaping up to be a genuinely capable partner, especially for that household planning and task execution stuff we just talked about.
But there's a catch.
Always a catch, and it's the one they kept coming back to. Its real value, its effectiveness, is tied directly to your willingness as the user to put in the effort. You have to actively engage with the new conversational features, integrate it into your routines.
If you don't make that shift.
You're right back to the wittier, more pleasant-sounding egg timer. It requires participation. It's not just a passive upgrade that magically improves things. You have to meet it halfway, change your own habits a bit.
Right. So this deep dive, based entirely on that one user's perspective from the USA Today article, it really paints a picture, doesn't it? Alexa Plus isn't just about slightly better voice recognition. It's aiming to be a conversational partner, potentially anchored in the kitchen, helping manage the actual flow of daily life.
It definitely suggests Amazon sees these devices playing a much deeper, more integrated role in how we plan and organize things at home, moving way beyond just simple commands.
It really makes you think, especially if you use voice assistants now or even if you don't. How might something like this, something more conversational and capable, actually fit into your daily life? Would you use it for planning dinner or tackling a project?
And looking ahead, as these AI assistants get better and better at understanding context and conversation, what parts of our daily planning, our task management, might we eventually just delegate? What does that mean for how we use technology in our most private spaces, like our homes?
Definitely something to keep an eye on as this tech evolves.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into one user's early look at Alexa Plus